storytellers. Welcome to my back porch. Yes, and it's springtime. I thought what a perfect opportunity to take in the sights, the sounds, the smells, the touch, the feel of the air, all of the things that we're going to be talking about in storytelling, especially when it comes to how the brain processes a story. Remember, the brain is a map maker, a meaning maker, and it uses the raw material of what's coming in through our senses to tell a story. And that's how humans survive, is by telling stories to one another and telling new stories to each other, like the one that we're in very much so right now. It's a brand new story. We don't have a lot to predict, right, with here. We don't have a lot of past history on stuff like this. Any of us can remember anyways. And so we're literally in the process of writing a new story, and our senses are integral to that. So this class is about the senses. We're going to go ahead and start off by being grounded on our backs. If you have blocks, you may want to pause, go grab some, at least one or two if you have them. If not, it's fine. You can make do without it, of course. I'm not going to play any music. I'll give you a soundtrack if you want to, but other than that, you might hear the melodious sounds of the birds. You might even see a golfer or two in the background. We're just going to tune them out. All right, so let's come onto our backs. Let's get grounded. Let's find our awareness, bringing it from the outside in is the first thing. I'm very much external focused right now, like many of you, focused on worry, concern, trying to predict my environment, and it really feels unpredictable. So where do I have a sense of control? Really, it's in here. So let's notice wherever you're practicing right now, let's bring our hands to our belly really wide. The hands are so useful for processing information in the brain and mapping the brain pretty widely. And so let's just notice our breath. Let's notice the space that we're in. Now, I happen to be in big space, right? I'm outside, but you're probably inside. So just notice the room that you're in, the sounds. What's the air temperature like? Are there any smells? Maybe you decided to grab your essential oil and use that beforehand. Oils are great, or even just, we can evoke the same place, the olfactory bulb in the brain, as if we were smelling it just by evoking an image of it. And so I like the image and the smell of trees. So maybe an evergreen tree, or maybe you have a favorite tree, but just like walking into a really beautiful forest, alive in the springtime, or an evergreen forest, what's the smell of trees to you? Or maybe even freshly cut grass. Now let's just find that smell. It lights up the part of the brain, remember, with the olfactory bulb right next to the pituitary gland, just as if we were smelling it. Or maybe you found a nice smell to smell before we started practice. Taking a few more inhales and exhales. And now that we're smelling trees, let's imagine a tree. I have trees all around me. They're coming back to life. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're in an apartment or house or somewhere isolated and not really have a lot of trees around you, but you know what? We can imagine a tree. Let's find the most beautiful tree that we can in our mind's eye. And I want us to bring it to life, not just in our mind's eye, but bring in that feeling of a tree, the grounded feeling that trees provide to us into our bodies. So imagine the root system. Just like trees have a deep root system, so do we. Down deep here into our belly, down into our hips and our legs. Our energetic root system of who we are runs all the way down there, even extends through our feet into the earth. And so now we have an image of a tree, but the tree not external from us, not disconnected, but actually one that runs through us. So we can feel the same experience as a tree does of being deeply rooted and grounded, extending our network of connection to the space that we're in, and maybe to each other, from just getting to know each other for the last couple of hours, from those in our group, extending that connection right now as we practice together virtually. One more nice deep breath, grounding, experience our bodies awakening to this process of storytelling that's happening all the time. We're just going to make it a more conscious process. And then let's go ahead and take our hands, and I like to roll the wrists around, wiggle the fingers around, awaken the proprioceptors, right? One of the 8 senses we'll talk about. And let's take our index and thumb, and if we can, if this bothers our wrist for some reason, just lay the palms on the sides of the rib cage, but we're gonna come into diaphragmatic breathing. And so right in the center of our bodies, right, the diaphragm muscle is intimately connected with the fight or flight muscle, the psoas. And so we want to kind of uncouple that experience of stress that may be kind of stuck in all of us right now, right? Finding that pulling in feeling that we all do, that gripping, that tightness that happens unconsciously, and or unconsciously bringing it a little bit more softer, right? So can we soften the area around the lower part of our rib cage? So let's explore, where is our rib cage end with our hands? It goes deep, the rib cage goes deep in the body, and right there at the bottom part of the rib cage, the ceiling of the stomach, we find right there the diaphragm. And let's just see if we can breathe laterally, breathing into the sides of our hands. So see if we can expand the breath to the side body, breathing the side seams of our shirt a little more expanded, breathing that accordion-like breath into the bottom part of the lungs. The little trick is to exhale a little bit longer, let the rib cage, the lower lungs hug in a little bit more, extending the exhale. Then notice the inhale tends to have a lot more freedom naturally. See if we can keep the upper chest still. So just taking a few more deep breaths, seeing if we can find a longer exhale, even maybe a pause at the end of the exhale for just a brief moment. And then a more soft, fluid, expanded breathing, again, laterally, breathing to the side body, and then letting that go. And then let's go ahead and bring one hand to our chest, one hand to our belly, coming into 3-part breath. So we're going to imagine our torso. This is awakening to interoception, right? Through the vagus nerve. But 3-part breath is really great for that. Let's just imagine our torso being broken up into a third. So bottom third, 2/3, and then the upper third, like a measuring cup broken into 3/3. So we're going to inhale to the bottom third, just filling up the bottom part of our measuring cup where our lower hand is, and then pause, and then letting that all the way out. Just feel the belly collapse, maybe the back a little heavier into the mat towards the earth. And then again, inhaling to that bottom third. We're going to pause, but then we're going to sip some more air in up to that 2/3 line, right where our hand was. It's that sipping breath to the 2/3 line, hold, and then pause, let it all out. Again, let the breath drop into the hips to the legs. Inhale to the 3rd line and pause. Sip some more air in up to the 2/3 line and pause, and then fill up like a gas tank, just capping off. Don't overfill it to the upper line, and then just letting it go. Can release the hands alongside the body. And now we'll just put that together into one full 3-part breath. Inhaling to the bottom third, continuing to the 2/3, finally to the upper third, letting it go. And let's add imagery here as well. One final thing, the story that we tell through the senses. So finding the imagery of a mountain as we inhale up the mountain, as if we're walking up this beautiful stone staircase up the side of a mountain all the way to the top on the inhale. Pause at the top, look out over at the top of the mountain. What can you see? And then exhale as if we're sliding down the mountain, just letting it go all the way down to the hips. One more time, walking up that long staircase to the top of the mountain. At the top, can we see out? What do we see? Beautiful lands below us, a forest, a garden, clouds, whatever it is, make it yours. And then we're just going to slide ourselves down the other side of the mountain. And then just letting that breath practice go. And then let's go ahead and find our knees. We're going to hug our knees into our chest. Just rock side to side. Of course, you can grab behind the thighs, around the shins. As we rock a little bit though, so we rock side to side, just notice, is the chest and the shoulders, do they move with you, or are they kind of moving rigidly? Mine kind of do it first. See if we can find a little bit more fluid movement here through the shoulders. So when the hips rock, you can feel that movement up to the spine, a little softer, behind the heart a little softer, around the shoulders and the neck a little softer. So getting out of that rigid, robotic, mechanistic feeling of the body. If we can soften a little bit more, that's helpful. And then let's go ahead and bring our hands to our knees. Let's point, flex the feet, roll the ankles around, and really flex the feet here. We're going to bring our hands to our thighs. If you have your block, I'm going to go ahead and grab mine, place it in the belly of the thighs. We're going to place hands to thighs, thighs to hands as we spread the toes really wide, right? So feel the air rush between the toes. I can really feel that outside. It feels great. You can practice outside. I give it a recommendation, of course, when it's warm enough. Shoulders out to the side, and we're just going to tick-tock over to the right. Again, this focus on uncoupling. So as we rock to the right, let's just see if we can keep the left rib cage melted down. So mine was starting to lift up and my shoulder was lifting up. Let's see if we can just melt that down without anything changing through the feet. Inhale, feel heavy across the sacrum. Pause, reset. Again, notice the neck, the shoulders, the jaws. Exhale over to the left. Right rib cage stays relaxed. Can you soften and melt the right shoulder even more? Maybe even turn the head to the right. Inhale through center. Try to internal rotate the thighs. Try to press the block away again. Slowly over the other direction, the head. Remember, the left shoulder softens. We soften the left rib cage. So continue to tick-tock side to side, following your breath. Let the breath be the guide. The focus here is on uncoupling. So we tell a physical story. An old story is one that's coupled. It's a stress story, one where we really batten down the hatches here in our heart, our lungs. And from there, you can't tell a new story, right? We tell that old program story, that story probably of stress, especially right now. One that is linear, more reptilian in movement. And so we want to see if we can soften the body, create more connections there, especially to the diaphragm, from the belly to the heart. We want to open up a new story in those areas physically. And that turns on that information flow from the belly and the heart up to the mind, right? That deep root system of ourselves, that same root system we imagine in trees, starts to flow with greater efficacy. And then let's go ahead and release. We're going to set the feet down. Let's go ahead and bring the feet mat width apart. Just move the block to the side. We're just going to windshield wiper the legs softly side to side, allowing the inner thighs to be nice and relaxed. Again, we can feel this taffy-like feeling maybe through the belly, melted behind the heart, really focusing on feeling the feet as the feet come across the floor. Feel the edges of the feet, the soles of the feet, and then coming back through center. Let's go ahead and hug the right knee into the chest. Again, we'll roll the right ankle around a little bit. Let's reach the left leg long. Let's point both feet, flex both feet, point them again. We're gonna curl up. Again, the spine curling us up on the exhale, shoulders stay relaxed, calm strength here through the belly. Inhaling, extending the limbs long. You can certainly do this with the knees bent if that is better for your back. Can you feel the limbs grow out of the waist? The legs grow long out of the waist as well. As we exhale, we draw the left knee in. Again, pause, option to curl up calmly, right? Feel the strength from the spine, the belly, but the neck stays relaxed. And then flowing with our breath. If we know what Ujjayi breath is, it's a perfect breath practice to do right now. It's right, it's turning on the vagus nerve across the back of the throat. So as we inhale, we want to just imagine breathing through 2 straws in our nose, or breathing through the glottis at the base of the throat. So it's an audible breath, forcing the breath over the vagus nerve at the back of the throat. It's beautiful for turning on, again, that information flow. So we want to think of the vagus nerve as really the root system of a new story for the mind. And so that's that deep tree root system down into the belly. And it wanders down and integrates everything in the lower part of the heart, the lungs, the intestines. And so what story is going on there? And that's where we want to turn to, listen to the body. The body tells a story, but it does through feeling. We want to be honest about where we start. Our story has to start with how we're feeling. Remember, we're constantly broadcasting a story all the time, whether we like it or not. We just want to tune in for just a minute and see what story we're broadcasting right now. And then the next time the knee hugs in, let's hug both knees, and we're gonna keep the back just kind of flat, melted into the mat for just a second. Shoulders, neck, face relaxed. Maybe softly turn the head side to side. We're gonna go ahead and flip ourselves over, coming to all 4. So again, shifting. So we're growing the story out of awareness in the body and the belly up through the heart. So as we come to all 4s here, keep your blocks handy. Let's just see if we can alternate picking each hand up and pressing it into the mat. So I say kneading, K-N-E-A-D-ing, our hands into the mat, thinking of the webbing of the hands. And then let's just go ahead and softly rock side to side. So left and right, again, non-linear swaying side to side, staying grounded through the hands, keeping the head, the neck nice and relaxed. And then as we do, let's go ahead and pause with the right side really pressing out a little bit. Let's just breathe the right side nice and open. And then we're gonna swing it down through cow, kind of like a hammock here, over to the left. And then we're gonna swing it back through to the right, and then back to the left. And then as we come back to the right, let's swing it around to the top. So we're gonna come into cat pose, hanging the head heavy, and we're gonna rock forward and back here. Again, staying grounded, heavy, long through the neck, grounded through the hands. So our stories have to be grounded in the body. They have to be grounded in the present moment to be really more powerful, more effective. Again, thinking about our senses, And then let's go ahead and reach out our right hand nice and long over to the left corner of the mat, bringing the left forearm down. Now we can maybe come onto the fingertips here. Take a nice big lateral breath. Remember, we're trying to expand through the side body here. Inhaling, breathing the side seams of our shirt, nice and softly open. On the exhale, get some more traction. Feel the spine surrender. And also grow with awareness. Inhaling, the right side spine breathes you more open. Exhaling, we come in for length, but it comes naturally, effortlessly with the exhale. One more nice big side body breath, neck, shoulders, face stays relaxed. And then coming back through center. And then let's switch sides. So left hand comes over to the other side. And again, we can maybe come up onto our fingertips, right forearm down. Inhaling, breathing the left side spine nice and open. Exhaling, letting the breath pour into the spine. Feel the spine give way to that awareness. And again, it's awareness itself that we're seeking here, deeply into the belly, into the spine, awakening these processes of awareness. So the processes of awareness are through the senses. The more we cue those, the more we increase and expand awareness. And that's our ability to become better storytellers. We'll put all that together today. Let's come back through center. Inhaling, let's go ahead and send the right foot back, straight back on the mat. You may not be able to see fully here. I have to film this way, so sideways doesn't quite work. So you just have to imagine my foot back there. But we're gonna tuck the toe onto the mat. We're going to firm through the front of the thigh and reach long through the right heel. We always want to keep space, especially through the hips. Tight hips are old stories, right? Those are the reptilian defensive stories. We want expanded, calm, strong new stories through the legs. Lots of strength though through the legs. And then lifting the right leg up. Let's stay long through the spine, making sure the head, the neck stays nice and relaxed. Option to extend the left arm nice and long, palm turned in. Again, feeling this beautiful sense of awareness along the spine, diagonally pulling the spine. Now on the exhale through calm strength, we're gonna curl the spine. Option, you can just slide this onto the mat, right? Or tap elbow and knee together in space. Inhale, let's go on the diagonal. So now we wanna go out diagonally off our mat. Again, telling a different story, even on our mat, exhaling. Using your breath to move, maybe Ujjayi breath. You know, so often we get even into sort of fixed stories in our yoga practice that they're supposed to look or feel a certain way. Well, maybe that's a great place to start. We start with a lot of rules, especially, you know, in level 1 with our foundation. Here we're learning to color outside the lines a little bit. We're coloring outside the lines of our mat. Again, finding space, right? Finding an expanded sense of self here on the mat. And then pause. Let's bring our limbs straight down the middle. So we're going to go ahead and bring our limbs right through the center and pressing our left palm in towards this imaginary center line in our inner right thigh and then stretching along it as if we're stretching along a pole. Take up lots of space. Exhale, let's come back through center. Coming up into our perched cat, rounding the spine, light on the fingertips. Let the belly, the spine move you as you inhale. Again, soft, expanded, free to turn our heads in multiple directions. Exhaling, just using the breath to find a creative new way to move. Getting out of the rigid feeling in the hips and the shoulders, that's a little hack. If we can stay in that space, then we'll allow the belly and the heart to let us lead to a new path. And then coming back through center, same thing. Left leg extends nice and long. Maybe rocking, right? Turning on that proprioception system by doing that, the vestibular system as well. I think those are really the primary 2 systems that we want to think about cueing in our storytelling classes, right? To increase greater awareness, stronger sense of an embodied presence in our bodies in the space that we're occupying right now. And so when we're ready, let's go ahead and extend the left leg nice and long, maybe point flex the foot, squeeze the toes, and then the right arm. Again, feeling light with gravity. Can you stay lifted out of the left shoulder, pulling the limbs nice and long? As we exhale, we round through cat. Remember, you can continue to just drag the limbs on the mat if that's easier for you. Inhaling on the diagonal, continuing to flow. Finding that the breath, if we can, let it come first. So the breath is there, really trying to guide us to a new path. Our minds are really good at holding those old stories. If you want to tap into that creative power of the mind to tell a new story, the breath is really the gatekeeper, right? The key master for turning open that door in the mind. So surrendering to the breath, it's gonna feel different. New stories always do. So let's see if we can trust that there's a new story ready to unfold in our lives in a powerful way here. And then again, coming back through center, drawing down that center line, again, finding that calm strength, embodying that new awareness, again, feeling the spine come back to life. And then back through center, back into our perched cat-cow. Let the spine find more fluidity here, right? Maybe rocking side to side, maybe finding that cement mixing truck feeling here, perched, and go the other direction. Whatever we can do to get out of our heads and get into our bodies. And then finding child's pose. So knees wide, forehead to the block, settling the hips. So really grounded. If we can bring our forehead to the block here and rock side to side, fine. If this bothers our knees or our ankles, we'll just want to lift our hips into the air, tuck the toes. Same thing. In fact, we can find a deeper, easier belly breath sometimes that way. Let's just feel connected. And the sense of coming into seed form, coming into no form, which is really kind of the precursor for a new story. In some ways, a new story requires us to release the old story. No different than perhaps a caterpillar coming into its cocoon, not knowing what's happening, willingly going into the dark, spinning its own cocoon and going, I don't know what's going to happen here. Having to go to a formless form, maybe thinking of child's pose as that opportunity to come back to a place of no self. That's letting go of the old self. But there's such a bigger thing happening. You can feel that bubbling to the surface here. There's something wanting, like alchemy, to change us. That change process is never easy, and something we all have to surrender and go to that kind of dark place. And letting go of those old habits and patterns and stories is never easy because to some degree they provide comfort. So let's think of child's pose as that place, right, where alchemy happens, a change process. Let the breath overcome us. Let feeling whitewash over us, drop into the belly, drop into the heart. And then when we're ready, we're just going to come back to all fours. As we come back to all fours, let's come back up onto our fingertips here if we can, right? And if we can't, that's okay. We're just going to drop the hips a little bit here. We're going to turn the elbows into one another, kind of gently resist with the fingertips, and then just draw the chest forward. Again, finding a different way of feeling and moving here. As we send the hips back, we loop the elbows back out, we round whatever we can do here, but let the movement come from the belly. The head is nice and relaxed. And then pausing here, let's just allow the fingers to trail towards the knees, right? Drawing it in. And then like a seed coming out of the ground, we're gonna unfurl and feel the softness through the shoulders, through the thumbs, through the jaws, through the face, right? Literally just bringing ourselves to life in a new way, this unfolding, blossoming. Exhale, lightly floating the fingertips down. Inhale into our perched cow. Exhale into our perched cat. Again, let the fingers trail, arms, limbs heavy, face relaxed, soft, and then turning our blooms to the radiant sun. Again, soft to the jaws, the face, eyes. One more time, exhaling, coming back to our fingertips as we inhale forward into our perched cow. Exhaling, remember, Ujjayi breath. Lightly with the hands, slowly floating the arms overhead. Can you feel the spine making this movement happen, this growth? Now we can look in lots of different ways, right? We can see lots of different choices, different stories here around us. As we come back to all fours, we're just going to bring our right foot forward, coming into our kneeling lunge. So as we find our kneeling lunge, if you want to have 2 blocks, feel free, right? Making sure we're not pushing the left hip forward, we're just melting the left hip forward here. Again, finding something different. Let's take our right hand and undo our vision. We call that drishti, right? That soft, childlike view of ourselves, undoing the story of even who we are, coming back to that beautiful way of seeing ourselves exactly how we are and as beautiful as we are. So we have to undo that old hard vision of ourselves, letting that go very softly here with the right hand. And then we're going to slowly extend it forward. Now mine's probably going to extend off the screen. That's okay. It's just nice and soft. Keeping that in our vision, keeping the right knee bent. We're just going to take a gentle twist here, but keep the gaze soft to the right hand. Now, as we exhale, we're going to bring the right hand around and we're going to scoop the air, maybe move the block to the side, and let the hand trail, as if trailing in water here. So imagery is really powerful. Peel the right foot off the mat. Inhale, floating the hand again softly, keeping the gaze around the right hand softly. And then slowly reaching out, inhaling and exhaling, shifting forward. Inhaling, reaching forward, elongating the breath. Exhaling, it's a gentle twist, soft gaze. Inhaling, it's a nice big reach for what we want in our lives. Exhale, coming back in, then bringing that, collecting that. Inhaling and exhaling. Just continue to gently flow here. Once we find that new rhythm, we synchronize these different biological rhythms. We become more natural, just like nature. They're good modelers. And then that growth pattern that was really put in us before we were born, right? That will just start to germinate. We're creating the conditions. We've already got that story written in our hearts. It was given to us before we were born. And then let's go ahead and release. We're going to tuck the back toes, hands on either side. We're going to step the right foot back to left, an easy downward dog, a bent knee downward dog, and we're just going to pedal this out. Just nice and slow. Imagine stretching carpet on the diagonal. My favorite thing to do, getting into that beautiful sort of myofascial connective tissue webbing feeling of ourselves. And then we're going to bring the knees down, inhaling into our kneeling plank, exhaling, lowering through onto our bellies. Just really gentle and free here. Inhale, just gentle cobra, pressing through the top of the feet. Imagining our tail drawing it into the body. Exhaling, finding gravity, grounded through the belly. Hug the arms in, scoop the belly. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, extended child's pose. When we're ready, inhaling, left foot forward. Again, just coming to our kneeling plank, allowing the right hip to be nice and relaxed. I even like to sway here a little bit. My blocks are nice, heavy through the left foot. So it's harder as we practice yoga for longer to tell a new story with our practice, isn't it? Going back to the senses has been very helpful for me, right? Getting out of just the physical body postures, using those as a starting point, but using the senses really to color outside the line. So same thing with the left hand here. Let's just find it gently here in our gaze. And we're going to inhale, send the left arm forward. Exhale, a gentle twist to the left. Same thing, following the breath. Inhale, reaching. Again, maybe scooping, maybe clawing hands into imaginary sand or the earth below us or water. What's your choice? Inhaling and exhaling. So you can slow this down to follow your own breath pattern. I'm going to stop cueing that. You just follow your Ujjayi breath. Allow the breath to lead you on to a new experience. This new experience on the mat is why I'm still practicing after 20 years. If it was the same old story over and over again, I would have been done with it, probably like I was done with Taibo after some point. Nothing wrong with that. It's really because we can tell a new story with the senses, you know, that I'm still here. Something happened, no different than sort of magic, right? Chris, I would call it quantum physics. I would call it tapping into the Akashic field. But boy, once you find that experience, there's nothing that will keep you from that, right? You may find that in meditation. We all find it in different ways. And then again, left hand down, left foot to the right, downward facing dog. You can always choose extended child's pose. You can also bring your forearms down. Now here in this downward dog, we're going to go ahead and bring our feet wide. One of my favorite things to do again, non-linear style. Just slowly pedal the legs here, softly side to side, finding something different. Maybe coming high up onto the both toes, bending both knees low, really heavy feeling through the legs here. Imagine sending the hips way, way back as if back into a slingshot, right? And then inhale, let's just round the spine forward like a crashing wave. Allow the thighs to be relaxed, bend the elbows softly here through the chest, gently turning from the belly. Again, nice and slow. Big toes together, knees wide, arms long, getting a little traction here. So if you can, come onto the fingertips. Right, breathing as we breathe, let's breathe to the side body, finding that expanded sense of self deep in the belly. But the exhale, we're gonna get some traction here. It's gonna feel super good. Sacrum gently presses back, tailbone drops. We get space for the back. 2 more times. This hot air, lifted feeling through the belly as we inhale. As we exhale, heavy and grounded, more awareness to the lower part of the spine. One more big full side body breath. Exhaling, lengthening, so much space and length. Then when we're ready, slowly tucking our toes back to our downward facing dog, regular this time. Now we're gonna rock here side to side. That's right and left, heavy, heavy feeling through the lens. Again, grounded, nice and slow. And let's go ahead and rock over to our left foot heavy. Let's take our right leg, extend it straight back behind us, point flex the foot. Now we're gonna slide this right leg out to the side, to the right a little bit. You can catch under your arm. By the way, I'm gonna show you the option. You can do this with the left knee down, right? The whole thing can be done with the knee down. Out to the side, so pulling long, let's come back through center, reach longer. Exhale, bring the right leg straight behind the left hip. You might even be able to see it underneath your armpit. There it is. That's somewhat of a miracle, right? Inhaling back through center. Exhaling, draw the right knee into the chest, scoop the belly, and let's place the right foot to the right hand. Coming into our crescent lunge. Feel free to find blocks. Same thing that we did before with the knee down, but this time let's bring our right hand right in front of our face. And we're gonna inhale, open to the side, gently twist. You can always drop the back knee down. Now on the exhale, we're gonna have, this time we're gonna keep the right knee bent. We're just gonna drape the torso over the right leg, let the right hand come down. This is what it looks like with the knee down, same thing, right? Inhale, let the breath grow the belly. Feel this beautiful sort of twisted vine feeling through the torso. Exhaling, option is to straighten through the right leg if you want to have a block, or just lay the torso down. We got to shift more weight to the back leg. Inhaling, fanning through the thumbs, soften through the jaw. Again, feel the spine grow and twist like a twisted vine. Exhaling slowly. Again, coming inward. Contrast that expanded feeling with this contracted feeling. One more time, strong legs, but soft heart, expanded heart. Exhaling, hands on either side. Let's go ahead and step the right foot back to the left, downward dog. Inhaling, coming forward to our plank, knees down. Option is for cat-cow for a vinyasa. You can always take child's pose. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhale, gentle through the belly, easy and free through the chest. Exhaling, heavy, everything on the front side of the body finds gravity. Use that strength from the earth to lift ourselves up, kneeling plank. Exhaling, extended child's pose. Any kind, maybe taking the block, finding the forehead to the block one more time. Now I like to just rock side to side here, really heavy, letting any tension I find go. Now in yoga, we have a practice. We've practiced a few things here already. One of them has been imagery, bhavana, B-H-A-V-A-N-A. That is yoga storytelling through the senses. The ancient yogis knew that. The most powerful new story is the practice is called sankalpa, or intention. Let's find that here for just a moment. Remember that seed that was written in your heart before you were born. If it comes to your mind, that's your destiny. That's the new creative story. And notice it's a feeling. The universe will provide all of the story for that. Don't worry about the details. That's not your job. Your job is to trust, and to trust into a feeling. And if you can find that feeling now, one of connection beyond measure, expansion, a creative universe that dances within you, love and compassion, beauty beyond measure, those are all wonderful things. Can you find a feeling? It's got to have a feeling with it. If not, just start with gratitude, right? That gateway emotion. And then let's go ahead and move with that feeling. All the rest, the story details will come to you. Let's go ahead and tuck our toes one more time. Regular downward facing dog. Now we rock side to side before, which is totally fine. Let's just rock forward and back. Inhale into plank of some kind. Exhale back, shift the awareness, the energy into the feet a little bit more. Knees can be bent as much as we need to. One more time, inhaling, shifting forward. Maybe allow the chest, the heart to expand. Exhaling, shifting back with tons of intention. Heavy legs here, heavy heels, resist the ankles away. Wrapping the armpits, again, take up a lot of internal space, right? Find your bones. And let's rock over to the right side. Left leg extends nice and long. Remember, we can do this from all fours. And we'll just start by bringing the left leg straight out to the side calmly. Inhale through center, pull longer. Exhaling, left foot comes behind. Maybe we catch it, maybe we don't. Inhaling through center, exhaling, shifting forward. Again, scooping the belly calmly. Left foot comes forward, coming back into our crescent lunge with our legs. Option to drop the back knee down, your choice. Left hand lightly. Again, what can we let go of? Let the legs take it. That's the root system. The new story needs space up here, right? We need strength and connection down here. We need emotional connection, really, is where it's at. Left hand, again, softly on the inhale. Exhale, we start by just draping over this left leg heavy. Inhale, fanning open, more awareness to the back leg. Exhale, slowly option to straighten through the front leg, shift into the back leg. Use the breath to unfurl. Remember that twisted vine feeling through the spine. Everything else stays relaxed. Let the breath move you. One more time. Next time that the hands come down, we're going to go ahead and take a step back with the left leg. So back to our downward facing dog, back to our wide leg dog. So as we come wide onto our mat here with the feet, we're just going to alternate puddling here. Again, nice and slow, should feel super good. And then let both knees be heavy or bent. Both legs we're going to imagine kind of bouncing here. So kind of getting out of that rigidity and even bouncing a little bit side to side, almost like you're on a trampoline and kids are bouncing you. Not my favorite, but you have to surrender, right? Or you get taken for a ride. The universe wants to work with this kind of feeling, right? I know it's weird, who cares? No one's looking at you. Well, they may be looking at me, but they're definitely not looking at you. And then let's go ahead and pause. Let's just straighten just the right leg. Left knee stays bent. Let's find this connection from the left hand across the back, down the right leg, neck and head nice and relaxed. Slowly, intentionally switching sides. So right knee bends as if we're stretching carpet on the diagonal here from the right hand down the left leg. Again, head, neck, everything relaxed. One more time here. We're going to go ahead and bend both knees. Pull the hips way back. Little hack. Find your pinky toes. They will find your pelvic floor. Draw the tail super long back, and then just like a big wave through the spine, imagine the spine coming forward like a wave, shifting forward, allowing the thighs to be relaxed, elbows stay bent, but arms strong, maybe top of the feet. There is a light right in your belly button. We're gonna imagine it turning side to side here. Again, finding that different awareness. Big toes together, knees wide, back to our child's pose. Back to finding and dropping into that place of no form. I'm just going to get a good drink of water. So these are bodies, these vehicles, this container that we exist in is not who we are. That's the vehicle we've been given to tell new stories, to have the lives that we do. So unfortunately, when we get into strong patterns of defense in our bodies through stress, right, fight, flight, freeze, they tend to get those patterns of the nervous system and then through the body itself, right? Through the psoas line, lower and upper. We'll talk more about that, myofascial connective tissue. So we have to come to that more sort of melted place, that no form place. Let those patterns go. We're still in these vehicles, these vessels, but now there's room for a new story. Now we're not as connected to the old story. And then we also get out of those habits of the mind, of anxiety and depression, those habits of going backwards or forwards. And we're here and only here in this present moment, in this present body, in this no form feeling place. Now the universe starts to pour in. You have to trust that it is. Energetically, it lets. It says, ah, there you are. Game on, right? We have another one active and aware in the universe. It's waiting for that. It will never force. Right? Free will is there for a reason. When we're ready, let's go ahead and come up. We're going to come up to all fours one more time. And we're just going to come onto our knees on kneeling side plank. So let's bring our left knee below our left hip. Our right foot is going to come towards the back of our mat. And we want to be light here in our hand, palm, our fingertips, whatever's comfortable. We could also use the block. So same thing with our right hand. Remember, we're going to bring our hand and find that drishti with our right hand. But let's just start by opening up. We want to firm suction cup the right foot, imaginary tail, animal tail. We suck it into the body, thumb soft. Now exhale, we're going to wrap around this imaginary ball below us, right? So nice and relaxed here through the belly. Inhale, unfurl. Remember that twisted vine, that new root system, opening us up in different ways. Continuing to flow with our breath. Now we can add on as an option. We want to find Ujjayi breath. The next time that the arm lifts up, we're going to have the option to lift, elevate this right leg, only if it feels good. Now the option is on the exhale, hug the right knee in. So we want to have this curling and feeling, hugging the right knee in. Inhale, extend in all different directions, doesn't matter. We can take all sorts of movement patterns here, moving with the breath in unique and novel ways. Practicing feeling different, literally feeling different. Remember, a new story is going to be told through a new feeling, never a new thought necessarily. Yeah, sometimes we get a download, right? Happens when we're about to go to sleep, shower, driving. You're like, give me a pen, somebody, it's coming. I'm getting a download. Yeah, that's how it happened. Well, for the place to be clear, we got to clear the cache drive. Those old files, those old folders, we got to get rid of them. This is how we do it, right? Moving this way of really connected to the belly, less connected to those old patterns. And then one more time, we're just going to come back through center. I'm going to come around this side though. You guys can turn around any way you want. You know what we're doing next. So right knee below the right hip, left foot in alignment. Again, lightly here. Let's go ahead and find this relaxed, I say like a puppet, a marionette puppet that just is gone, lifeless, right? Let all that go, except for the back leg, super strong and connected. Inhaling, fanning the heart open. Exhaling. So the movement is really coming when I think of maybe the pelvic floor, kind of like a flower pot. I love flowers. You can see some of those above me, behind me. And so let's see if we can find that flower pot feeling there. And then this growing right through that root system, through the hips, the belly, and then the heart. Now we can find all sorts of different feelings here, like different color flowers growing and opening, blossoming, this garden of ourselves. Again, the back leg can come lifted. Really coming into this beautiful sort of unpatterned movement. And notice how intelligent and creatively intelligent the body is. It can find all sorts of different patterns, really exploring space creatively. And then slowly coming back through center, back to our downward facing dog or extended child's pose. Again, we can just pedal this one out nice and slow and just keep on walking to the front of the mat. Coming into a gentle forward fold. Feel free to use a block. Head heavy, feet hip distance or maybe slightly wider. And then just really rocking forward and back here on the feet. So again, coming back to the senses. And the vestibular sense is where our bodies are in regards to gravity, to north and south. And the mind knows that. It's pretty incredible how it knows if we're falling and we need to not be falling, as in we're not going upside down intentionally, it will auto-correct us. This is the system we're activating now. So how much more awareness as we rock forward and back can you give to the legs, to the feet, especially to the top of the head? And then we're going to rock left and right. Nice and slow, this sway-like feeling through the body. Of course, across the feet. Everything nice and heavy. You can even let the head kind of move. I always think of Stevie Wonder head. You know, he can't see colors, but boy, can he feel. So let's see if we can find that feeling like Stevie Wonder, unencumbered by the old stories that the world wants to tell us. He is unencumbered by that with his movement patterns. Think about that. Inhaling, let's grow the spine halfway up, lifting through the heart, fanning through the toes. I always like to imagine light, and we're just lighting up the floor here with the toes. Inhaling, exhaling, strong knee bend. We're rounding the spine, that caterpillar-like feeling through the spine here as we round heavy through the heels. Inhale, expanding through the heart. Maybe grow the heart wide out to the side as we slowly come up into extended mountain. Breathe the back body nice and open long. On the exhale, maybe chest expansion. Breathing that a few times. Inhale, press through the feet to grow the limbs as if they were tree limbs up through the fingertips. Exhale, sitting into our chair, maybe with chest expansion. Option for chair. One more time, again, growing this beautiful tree of ourselves. Inhaling, exhaling, hands heart center as we sit back into our chair. Maybe just slightly seeing the toes here. Imagine just stretching them out apart with our feet. Heavy, heavy feeling through the legs, but soft and light through the heart. Remembering our intention, planting that deeply in the seed, that seed deeply into our bodies, into our heart. Feeling that feeling. When we're ready, inhaling, extended mountain. Nice big breath. Exhaling, big swan dive, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway up. Exhaling deep forward fold with the caterpillar spine, rounding the spine. Inhaling arms out to the side, taking up a lot of space here energetically. Exhaling, sitting into our chair. One more time, big breath, inhaling. Now exhaling as we come to mountain, we're gonna go ahead and turn and open up to the side of our mat. So you guys will probably want to be facing me, obviously, right? We're gonna start by turning our toes to the corners of our mat. Make sure our knees are bent comfortable distance. Inhaling, 5-pointed star. Exhaling, sinking the hips. We're spiraling the inner thighs. We're sitting down, but we're still heavy. Toes are light. We have that bouncy feeling. Again, trampoline bounce. You can move either way. Really important. Inhaling, expand it through the hands. Exhaling. So we can either do sunflowers or moonflowers. The only difference is one of them, we just bring the arms out to the side, right? Doing a lat pull down. The other one, we bring the arms softly to the ground as if we're, well, yep, picking up sunflowers, picking up water, throw it into the air. So just continue to flow, but I'm gonna ask you to find some imagery here. The universe, the planet, the earth, they have good imagery all around of a story being told right now. You know, nature doesn't fight the new story of spring. It doesn't fight winter, doesn't fight summer, right? We might, but they don't. And so let's see if we can be like that. Let's imagine those cycles of our life. And the two feelings associated with that, right? That yin and the yang are the heavy and the light. And so we feel light as we lift up. We just surrender to the heavy, to gravity, to the earth as we sink down. As we inhale, we'll lift up like the sun rising into the sky. As we exhale, as the sun's setting, and we surrender to the dark willingly. So just continue to flow, not just with the movement, right? That doesn't really mean anything. Let's bring it to life with this new story. Now, in the middle, in between day and night, there's a powerful new story that we turn to with amazement. That's called the sunrise and the sunset. And those beautiful colors that come across the landscape, I love to stare at those on the ocean, right? Can you feel that? Now, see, our new story, the horizon, the event horizon for it, that creative new story really comes from here in yoga, right? Through the hips, to the belly. Can we surrender to that? Now, below that, the root chakra is the color red. Above that, the manipura, right? In the belly, that sense of self is yellow. So root chakra is our survival. We are in that system right now. It is root chakra moment, folks. But guess what? What does that mean? That means we're going to transition to a new creative, new story. That is always how it goes, but you don't get to pass go, collect 200 without going to the root chakra. So here we are. And then if you know who you are, you're in a good place. You're well positioned in the world right now to tell a creative new story because you need red fully and yellow fully to make orange. Sunrise and sunset. Those beautiful stories the earth tells every single day. One more time, then we're just going to go ahead and pause, turning the feet to parallel. We're going to hip hinge, come into a forward fold with the chest lifted. Feel free to find the block. Make sure you can still rock a little bit here. Let's bring our left hand right below our face. We're going to unwind. We're going to twist and open up again gently here, keeping the right hip level. Exhale, flow the left arm through and even reach it across. Again, you can do this with a block, but no block. We're just continuing to flow, finding a different experience here on our mat. Grounded through the feet. Taffy-like feeling through the belly. Really working and churning that orange creative chakra. Of course, that is called Svadhisthana, through the hips. And then the next time the left hand comes through, let's reach out to the outer right leg, just drawing down the right leg. Allow the torso to feel like warm butter. I'm going to go with that. I've been baking a lot at home these days. So warm butter just pouring down this right leg. Again, allowing the sense of coming inward to be one of a new homecoming. Homecoming to our creative self, to the true power of creation that rests within us. The thing that brought us to life is still within us, right? It's still a power that resides within us. Think about that. We're going through the fire right now together, doing our tapas, our work with this heat that we're all going through all at the same time. I can't even imagine what amazing story is going to come out of this, right? But it's going to be awesome. And we're the storytellers. We got to make that. Let's come back through center. Right hand gently in front. Again, softly twisting, maybe bringing the right hand all the way through. Just continue to kind of work into the belly, the hips gently, right? Allow the breath to drop deep into the belly here, to fan the heart open, to keep the shoulder, the neck relaxed, whatever we do. And then we're simply going to bring the right hand across to the outer left leg. Again, just melting the heart towards the leg, the head, the neck, everything nice and relaxed. Might even feel good to rock forward and back here just a little bit. Exhale, every exhale, we feel the head heavier. We feel this deeper sense of connection, this deep knowing of who we are. Oh, I know who I am now, right? I know why my story's been told the way it is. That's a powerful moment. When we come onto the mat, if we can find that feeling of who we are and make sense of our old stories so we can tell a new story, that gives us a lot of freedom in our lives, right? No matter what's happening around us, regardless actually of what's happening around us, we are still remain storytellers, even in difficult times. We're gonna come back through center here. One more time, let's turn the heels in, toes out, bend the knees, walk the hands up to the thighs. Heavy feeling here, and let's just twist this out. Belly nice and relaxed. Remember that belly has that light in it as well. As long as we can softly follow it with our gaze, we're in a good position here. And then inhaling one more time, 5-point star. But this time, we're gonna go ahead and press the palms up. Now, if we can't do that, just keep the hands parallel. That is totally fine. We're gonna imagine someone holding our wrists up in either posture and then bending our knees. Now, toes stay light, right? Sliding on a wall. We're just gonna come over to the right or one direction, whichever way. Pausing here, keeping the hips level, extending a nice red imaginary braided cord, like a ruby red cord, deep from the tailbone down into the ear here. Option, release the right hand, use that to grow. Remember the vine of the spine, can you have that feeling? The limbs are just natural extensions out of the spine. In fact, they grew out of the spine, out of the kidneys. Can you have that same feeling through the limbs, right? This opposite feeling going down at the same time, pressing up. There's a lot of good stuff here. If we can find that, a lot of freedom. Nice big breath. And then slowly releasing, we're going to go ahead and come back up to 5-pointed star, just flowing with our breath here, integrating what we just awakened here deeply into our bodies. I say that deep power and strength, that ancient wisdom that formed us, knows all the stories, is the owner of all the stories. We're just borrowing that library, right? Let me in, there's a whole library of awareness, new stories coming to possibility. Again, we don't have to move in a specific prescribed way here. We can move in all sorts of fun ways. When we're ready, though, we're going to come to the other side. Maybe start here, press the palms away. Again, can we stay loose and aware? Palms overhead or palms like this, your choice, right? And then coming into this kind of awareness. Again, it's body awareness. That is where we tap into that innate creative process. Remember, we formed out, the brain did not grow the body, the neural tube, the spine grew the brain. We're tapping into that. What can we grow different, a different feeling within us? One that's way more connected, way more grounded, right? Way more energetic, playful. The universe is playful, right? Play, very important for proper growth and development. Humans, when we forget that, can we play here on our mat? Oh, it feels good. And then again, slowly releasing, coming to standing. This time we're gonna really play. So we're just gonna bring the hands up and around, keeping the knees bent, nice and loose. Trail the hands, reaching them out, maybe fan the hands, shake the hands, shake the hands, shake the hands, shake the hands. And a big mandala-like circle, or like a big Ferris wheel, can we just let it go? If that's not comfortable for you, just do this on the ground, right? Just go side to side, from foot to foot. And then maybe we're gonna go the other direction, why not? Can you feel the arms, the limbs, heavy relaxes, joy emanating, bubbling up from the deep belly of who we are. And then let's just sway it out. I like to do this figure 8 sway, bending the knees, trailing the hands on the earth below us. Nice and gentle here, head, neck really relaxed. And then walking our hands over to our right foot, let's turn it out, left foot parallel. Same thing, this kind of dancing feeling, since we're in it, might as well. Our surfboard, we can really play on our mats here. Left hand, we're gonna bring it up and around. Again, just kind of like we started with the kneeling lunge, letting the hand come back behind us. Then we can start to flow our dancing warrior, anything, reverse warrior, triangle. Let the movement come from here into the belly, up to the heart, the limbs, right? This sort of dancing mandala, like to imagine colors, flying out from my hands, right? Like a beautiful pinwheel. I need one for my garden, by the way. Anybody has some good ones you want to give me recommendations? I would love that. I'm becoming a little bit of a gardener. I think that is me, as if I'm bringing a secret garden back to life. I'm turning to the flowers for inspiration. And then let's go ahead and bring our hands, walking them back to the middle, turning the feet to parallel, any kind of comfortable forward fold here. Head heavy, maybe rocking gently. Nice deep breath, noticing we can take a big diaphragmatic breath here. Letting the feeling of just being alive, vibrant, energetic, wash over us. And then we're going to turn the toes out, right foot parallel. Same thing, dancing warrior on this side. Any kind of dancing warrior that feels good, as long as we keep relaxed through the belly, through the heart, through the shoulders, the neck, the jaws. Then any shapes are possible. Notice the feet, the legs stay grounded like that deep root system of a tree, sort of dancing in the wind. And then one more time, hands are gonna walk to the center. We're gonna turn the feet to parallel. Nice deep breath. How heavy can we allow the head to be towards the earth here? Feeling our cheekbones super heavy to the eye sockets. The neck gets longer. The breath is deeper into the diaphragm. That central section of us is nice and open. Feeling alive. And then we're just going to simply bring one knee to the mat and then the other. Coming up into our knees for our camel pose. Just a gentle one here today. Let's bring our right hand in front of us. And we're going to slowly bring it across. I like to imagine like an orbit in the sky, right? Over, across, and then back behind us. And this is where a great place for a block is, or you can bring your right hand back to your hip or to your heel or to a block. Then the left arm is going to come up and again across and just open up. So again, this non-linear movement, really powerful for creating and connecting those horizontal channels of the brain. So from the right to the left, right across the corpus callosum, we have the right left brain integration. And that's important for, again, a new story. It does need to have some rules, right? We need to tap into language at some point. You know, we have to have some kind of logical trail for it. But really it's that right side we're after, right? That more creative side of the mind. Right here, sensory somatosensory cortex is where it's at across both sides of the brain as well. Cueing the senses does that. And then slowly we're just going to switch sides. And we're going to do this the same way. All right, we're going to take our left hand in front of us and it's going to come across. Again, crossing the corpus callosum here. Opening, orbiting across our sky and then coming back behind over to the left hip or to the block. Then we turn our gaze to our right hand. It comes over. We track it with our gaze. Our right hand comes across. Again, breathing ourselves, growing ourselves from that flower pot here, the pelvic floor, up to the spine, softly through the back of the heart. And then slowly coming back through center. This is where we're going to want to sit on those blocks or just back on our heels or crisscross applesauce if that's more comfortable. Let's go ahead and take our left palm and place it in our lap, palm open, right palm over it, thumbs. Just allow everything to come inward, this turning inward to ourselves. Let the belly relax, the shoulders, the face softens, maybe still gently smiling. But then can you imagine here through the torso that I am a vase, a beautiful vase, one that is going to be eventually filled with flowers, right? Beautiful cut flowers. But we want to decorate this vase, this vehicle, this vessel for that new garden. Can you imagine colors along the vase, right? Can you see how beautiful you are to the universe? The universe loves empty space. It's like an empty, beautiful canvas to create on. And so as we try to become these new vases, these vehicles of awareness for the universe pours in, just like pouring water into the vase, and then imagine being filled up with flowers of all kinds. What's your favorite flower? I love Gerber daisies. I love all flowers, really, ones I don't even know the names of. Can you find a beautiful bouquet of flowers here, blossoming from our heart up to our mind? And then slowly extending our spine nice and long. Let's go ahead and come back onto the earth. We want to have our block handy if we can, or something to lift our hips up. Let's take one leg, lower ourselves down, proper yoga fit form, right? Let's go ahead and elevate our hips coming into our supportive bridge. So we're gonna take the block underneath our sacrum. I'm gonna make sure I'm in the view. There we go. Hands wide to the belly. So again, hands are so useful. They do map the mind. The mind is a meaning maker and a map maker. So when we go back to these raw senses, especially touch, especially here in the belly, touch and interoception, those two senses that we're tapping into right now to great measure. So thumbs towards the rib cage, pinky fingers towards the hip bones, heavy feeling across the sacrum, and then finding this deep, deep sense of self deep into the belly with the breath. Let the exhale be a little longer. Feel the belly come in deeply towards the spine. And then a natural inhale out to the side, expanding the space between the hip bones and the rib cage on either side. Just find that natural flow of breath. You know, we turn on that faucet of awareness. Remember, with it, we can get downloads, creative downloads, inspiration. We turn on our enthusiasm back for life, our passion for being a storyteller in our life. It doesn't matter if we all have to be home right now. Who cares? We can still be telling a new creative story. And so let's see if we can find that original, organic, that ancient system of awareness deep into our bellies. Can you feel that it's about 2 inches below the belly button there? That's the feeding tube. Yeah, we had one in our bellies, right? That's interesting to think about when you get to it. And so here we're being fed, but we're being fed by a different tube of awareness, a beautiful spiritual tube, an energetic tube that is feeding us right now, that wants to feed us to greater measure. We can turn on that feeding tube, that awareness tube right there deep in the belly. Let that belly feel relaxed, aware. Those creative juices already flowing through us. Just be the receptor, be a good receiver, a good vessel, a vase. And then slowly, because this is the best part, right? We lift our hips up, we move the block to the side. All the awareness we can muster at the top of the spine. We're laying the spine down, just like a beautiful necklace. Can you think of the most beautiful necklace you've ever seen? Full of diamonds, emeralds, rubies, all the way down. And then we're gonna hug our right knee into our chest. Option for half of happy baby here, just hug the knee into the chest. Either way is fine, foot to hand, hand to foot. Again, heavy feeling through the right side of the body. Again, grounding. Once we have this creative process turned on, we wanna ground and find strength through the legs. You know, there will be action we have to take in our lives. There is going to be steps we have to do to bring this creativity into the world. The world needs it more than ever. It doesn't have to be an elaborate plan either. It can be a simple act. Some of us will be called to the masses and right and do something big for them. Some of us it's just be called in our houses. That's a huge victory too, right? And so where are we being called right now? Maybe we don't know. We took this course. We're not sure how we're going to use it. It's okay. I believe you will know. Let's go and take the right ankle across the left thigh. We're just going to gently press the inner right thigh away. Again, just rocking a little bit here. My favorite things to do. Calming that central nervous system around the sacrum. Option for taking our figure four stretch or supine pigeon. You don't have to. You can grab around the shin, around the thigh, whatever is comfortable. Keeping the right foot flexed, just gently coming into the outer hip. Maybe gently pulling the knee over to the left side just a little bit as we press the right hip away. Exploring the space there in the outer hip and knowing it's kind of different energetic material there. Breathing new awareness. Got to walk in different ways, learn to dance through the hips differently, carry the weight of the world differently, the stresses a little differently these days. And then slowly release into any kind of twist. We can wrap the legs, of course, and you have a block. You could wedge a block. You can extend the left leg straight, bring the knee across. Another creative way is to just take the left hand to the right ankle, bring it across, drop it. Not always okay for everybody, right? So just take what's good for you. Getting into these, to the outer hips. The hips are holders, as we know in yoga, we hear this a lot, of our emotions. I say they're the holders of our old program stories, and the stories, all of them, like good, bad, ugly, otherwise, they're here in our hips. They've done a lot. But we need to make way, here in our hips for new stories, right, to be told, for a new way to move in the world, a more graceful way. The people I look at and admire, watch with wonder, move with ease through their life. They have a lightness about them, a softness as well, compassionate, open heart. But yet there is strength in there, sort of like feline ease, strength, like a cat sort of, out on the savannah, and they move with such grace and ease, but such strength. There's power, great power in that kind of ease, moving into the ease. And then we'll slowly unwind, coming back through center, feet flat, hips back to level. Let's go ahead and hug the left knee in. Might feel good to take those circles here. Go the other direction. Again, stirring that energetic pot, our flower pot. Option for half of happy baby, or just hug the knee in. You can also extend the right leg straight. That's always an option. The left side really heavy as we keep the shoulder relaxed. Soft through the back of the neck, evenly balanced on the back of the head. So I think we have been preparing for these times. All of us, unknowingly, of course, who would have ever imagined this new world we're going to live in. And so it calls for all the things that we cultivate in yoga practice, right? Real strength, connection to a greater sense of self, that big S self, and connection to those creative new ways that the world is going to need. And through the breath, through awareness, and of course through the body. It's through the body that this is going to happen. Just how perfectly prepared we have been. It's just amazing to me. I'm wonder at that. Left ankle across, all things, right, being held, shepherded. Hand to the inner left thigh. Again, maybe just finding space to that inner hip crease. Notice different feeling there, right? We never want to force that. Just being really gently to the inner hip crease, maybe rocking. Remember, we can stay there, or we can come to our supine pigeon, a heavy feeling through the back. You can relax the right leg, left foot needs to stay nice and active. And again, shifting our awareness deeply into the outer left hip. Again, finding that hip. Can you feel it settle? The femur bone kind of settle towards the hip socket. Reconnecting ourselves at the deepest level we can. And then slowly releasing again, any kind of final twist here. Right leg straight, left knee across, or just taking this tilted twist, left shoulder stays relaxed. So again, breathing in any of the twists, we want to find this outer hip with a greater awareness. It's, this is the one that takes one for the team all the time, our outer hip. A lot of sympathetic nervous system movement patterns there, those ones that defend us automatically, and thankfully, right, I'm so grateful for that sort of protective animal within me. But if we were too reactive in the world right now, which I have found myself leaning towards at times, of course, then we close down those creative processes. So I'm trying to practice more from that embodied awareness place, acknowledging the anxiety, acknowledging the need for some anxiety, and it's okay, not admonishing myself too much, but using that, like that is fuel for the fire of transformation, isn't it? And being willing to look at those patterns that get brought up in these times, that's where we open up new portals of awareness. That's what's called what tapas, doing our work, really deeply facing the fire, saying, okay, this is uncomfortable. And growth always is, but it's not unmanageable. My yoga practice, my breath practice, my relationship practices with my friends, with you guys that I've been talking to, yes, amazing. That's what's going to get us here. Let's come back to center. Yoga has prepared us well. right? We have all our sister and brother warriors in it together. We'll end just how we started, any kind of gentle rocking. It might feel good to bring hands to knees, take slow circles, nice and slow, heavy around the sacrum, right? Anything that feels good, windshield wipers, of course, this is your practice. And then eventually finding some kind of shavasana, the soles of the feet together, knees wide, our legs out straight, palms open. Your choice. You can also lay on your side, fetal seat, or on your belly. I'm just going to briefly talk you through a relaxation, and then you are free to take a longer shavasana. I will give you that time, of course, in the workshop. So we just want to, wherever we're at, pause and notice the room again, and notice our bodies, notice our breath, and then just letting it go. Surrendering here, again, to that formless place. Maybe that's why so many people run away in shavasana, because there's that no self, that, you know, there is a chasm, a brief chasm where you have to jump to the new self. And at some point you have to let go of the old self, and it's like transitioning, right, to bars, right? How am I going to get there? You're going to get there. And there's a new place of awareness there. Trust in that, relaxing through the jaws, softening through the cheekbones and the eye sockets, allowing the breath to be relaxed and ease. Let the breath even go, remembering our intention, our sankalpa. You can practice on the inhale saying, I am, and then that word, or you can just let it all go. I'll see you back in our workshop here in about 10-15 minutes. Namaste.